AFTERBUZZ TV, the destination for TV superfans, producing after shows for over 300 of your favorite TV shows, interviewing celebrities and showrunners, and bringing you behind-the-scenes exclusives. All thanks to E! Entertainment's Maria Menounos, producer Kevin Undergaro, and internet leader Akamai. Now, let the buzz begin!
Mama said there'll be days like this.
Hello, AfterBuzzers, and welcome to the after show for Manzo'd With Children, and we're going to be discussing The Real Housewives of New Jersey. Teresa checks in, The Visit, Part 3.
Very exciting stuff.
Yes. All right, so let's get into all of the moments with Manzo'd.
Okay, let's introduce ourselves first, because
Yes,
we did this last week, too.
I'm a little turned around, but yes, let's do it.
So Fern's not here tonight. Fern is on a cruise with her family. They're celebrating something.
Yes.
I forget what.
A bar mitzvah, I believe.
That's it, a bar mitzvah for her nephew. So we miss Fern, but she'll be back next week for the Manzo'd finale, the wedding, finally.
Nice. Yes.
But I am Megan Stecher, and you guys can follow me on Twitter at Megan Stecher, MEGANSTECHER.
And it's Grant Rutter. You guys can find me over on Twitter at Grants__rants.
All right, so getting first to Manzo'd this week, emotional baggage was the name of the episode, and I kind of wrote in my own notes here, the Al is crying again episode.
Yeah.
That man cried for 90% of this episode.
He did.
I literally thought he was like too proud of a man to cry like that. Did you?
I didn't think he would ever want to do that on camera. Like, I just thought he'd just be like so sensitive and like, I'm not doing it, I'm not gonna get upset, I'm not gonna be, forget it, if I'm gonna get upset, I'm not gonna do the show, you know. But
exactly,
he's a team player.
And I thought it was nice to see somebody raw, real, emotional, because we see so much set up stuff on this show. So it was nice to get some real emotions out of everybody. Basically, for this whole episode, we see one dinner out in the beautiful countryside in Italy. Oh my God, that was amazing. Have you ever been?
No, but those people are doing too much work.
I know.
They're really like cooking from scratch, like creating all these dishes. I mean, it's just too much. Like I'm not going on a vacation doing all that work cooking.
Yes.
Like I'm like a takeout person. I want to go to a nice restaurant, especially if I'm in Italy.
That's the thing. You're just like, I'm on vacation. Somebody else is cooking for me.
But it must be like a treat for them, since they all work in the food business, to be able to use, like they said, like the farm to table thing that they had going on, like the real, like, you know, the Italian crops and straight up from the land. Like, you know, if you're into that, that is a cool experience. But for me, I'd rather just watch or just grab a menu.
I think that they did put in minimal labor. Like, it wasn't too bad. But I almost thought that it seemed like Caroline wasn't being too genuine in her interview when she was talking about the farm to table dinner. She was saying, oh, we're restaurant people, we're so into this, it just was perfect. But there was this weird little delay that kind of led me to think that it wasn't her favorite thing that they did on vacation.
Oh, I didn't pick up on that. That's very perceptive. I like it. Yeah.
Sometimes I think I should have been a detective.
It's very likely. It's very likely, because I feel like she probably doesn't want to be bothered either.
Right.
You know?
Well,
so
she's probably thinking, I'm on vacation too. I'm sitting here enjoying my Prosecco, and this guy's telling me to get in the kitchen.
Yeah.
What was he coming out and saying? Senora, you come and help in the kitchen.
Is
that what he said?
Yeah, and then even Lauren was working, and then
the
future mother-in-law was watching her, how she was
future
cutting up the
mother-in-law
gnocchi.
With her comments, she just doesn't miss a beat. Denise.
Denise, yes.
Man,
Denise Scalia.
Denise Scalia. We hope to see you next season, lady. She's full of fire, that one.
Yes.
So while everyone's helping to prepare dinner, everyone's kind of broken off into groups doing their own thing. The two fathers are helping to make some homemade mozzarella. And they're kind of talking about the kids and work and things like that. We get to see the ladies having their own conversation about, isn't it nice everyone's getting along? And then we see Vito sweating it out on the hillside. He's supposed to be picking tomatoes probably for sauce for dinner. And he's freaking out to Chris and Albie, saying he has to tell them about the secret. He has to tell his parents that he wants his own deli. I thought Vito was genuinely freaking out that bad. Did you feel the same way?
Yeah, I did. I kind of felt bad for her because what a terrible thing to do when you're on such a nice trip, to have something hang over your head like that. Something that you just dread and want nothing to do with, but it's necessary. We've all been there.
Right.
You know, where it's like, oh, I just dread this, but I have no choice.
Right.
And that was the time to do it, I guess, because any later than that would just maybe I don't know, but should he have waited after the wedding?
I think yes.
It would have made a difference, you know?
Why less than 2 weeks before your wedding do you need to tell your parents that you don't want to be a part of the family business so much you want to go do your own thing?
They kind of threw cold water on it.
They did.
They said,
so my thinking is he wanted to do it with Lauren's family there because he knows that Lauren's the only daughter and her parents just bend down to whatever she wants a lot. They just have always, they're diehard supporters of their kids in the Manzo family. And I think probably Vito and Lauren have had a lot of conversations about when and where they should say this.
Yeah.
And so Lauren's family was able to back him up.
They did, yeah. So they're thinking like safety in numbers, kind of, when it comes to dropping a bomb of news. Yeah, because his family said that it was impossible, basically, which is like the worst thing you want to hear if you are trying to be ambitious.
I was sweating.
Really?
Yes. I was like, this poor kid, his parents are being negative. But I mean...
Yeah. And then they like threw it back on his brothers, how it's not fair to them, and they said it's just going to be very difficult. But Albert jumped in and he said, you know, this is a way for them to expand the empire. Look at this as a new opportunity. And I thought that was very smart. And I really didn't think that Albert would get involved in a family matter like that. But it was I'm sure Vito appreciated it.
I know. I agree. I was sweating for him because that was a tough thing to say. How do you tell your parents, this thing you've been building all your life and dreaming of me taking over, I don't want to be a part of it. I don't want your empire. I'm going to go strike out on my own. But I think the Manzos smoothed it over by saying, he's just expanding. He's not leaving. Right. So I guess we'll leave it at that. Until next time.
Yes.
I'm sure Denise Scalia will have much more to say on this matter.
Yeah, yes, she will.
I think season 3, we have a storyline. I think that this is where it's going. You feel that way?
With the mother just being involved in everything?
With the deli. I think it's going to be all about Lauren and Vito's first year of marriage and trying to open this deli. And
I hope for their sake, yes, because that would be what better way to have to be able to promote a new something new than to have a show that's going to be structured around, you know.
Right. I remember you said this last week. You were like, use your platform. Some of them do it really well and some of them don't.
Yeah, I mean, I was looking at the ratings for this show. The average is about like 0.9, so just under 1 million.
Okay.
However, they have a very big fan base in general.
And just strong. People from New Jersey are huge, fans. And like Teresa's fans are ridiculous fans. They're hardcore, and I'm sure they would show up.
Yeah, I think that they should go for it.
Right.
They really should.
Because they are just a small family deli. So to slap a celebrity name on something in Manhattan could only help. I don't think he's going to crash and burn.
Yeah. I mean, even like Carlos Bakery, with, of course, New Jersey based, but then they opened one up in Manhattan, and you can't even get in there. I mean, it's like, it depends what time you go, of course, and it's like a big tourist place. I'm sure a lot of our listeners have even visited. But I mean, talk about like building a brand, being under everyone's nose, even being a tourist attraction. I mean, try to follow that model because it's fantastic. I mean, they do such a killer job there, and of course they have their own, like, he can still have his dad's in Jersey or wherever it is, right? It's where's the original?
It's I forget the town in New York.
Okay, so
Monroe.
I
forget.
I'm
so sorry.
I believe you're right. But yeah, so they can still have that, but then have like the the tourist attraction to really drive the brand. I think that
they're franchising.
Yeah, that's what they should do. Don't worry about like going and reinventing the wheel.
Right.
Like, just it's
gonna be Vito's legacy. He's franchising. He's smart.
Expanding the empire.
I'm with him. Well, the other portion to this episode was Al really trying to let Lauren go and become a married woman and let her go as his daughter, which involved nothing but crying and not being able to speak.
Yeah.
So we saw a really sweet moment when he went to go have a quiet talk with her alone and present her with this Cartier love bracelet, which again, we are just showering Lauren with ridiculous
more
gifts.
Yes,
but
more gifts.
Hopefully this is the last big ridiculous thing that Lauren's going to get from Dad before she's a married woman standing on her own 2 feet.
I have to ask, were you familiar with the Cartier love bracelet? Was that something that was on your radar?
Only because it's become such a status symbol in the past few years. And I think like Kylie Jenner has like 7 of them on her arm or something as bangles. God. It's like, look, let's have a little respect for what it really means.
Right.
I don't know. I don't know. Maybe each of the sisters gave each other a bracelet and all locked one on each other. I don't know. But
yeah, I'm not sure.
I knew about them way before Kylie Jenner was a thing. But just saying, like,
and they have to be Cartier. That's like the brand. Like,
well, that's their thing, is that there's this little screw that it comes with a little screwdriver, and you can't really get the bracelet on or off. Like, you have to have the screw out to get it on, and then you screw in the screw, and it's like locked onto your arm.
Oh wow!
So kind of like you think about the European love locks, where everyone puts a lock on a bridge.
Yeah,
I think it's in that.
Okay,
it's kind of like, your wedding ring. You're locked into love. Like,
okay, I was questioning if it was like a charm bracelet where there are many different, companies that make the different charm bracelets.
There may be some knockoffs. Yeah,
but this is like the official.
This is the official.
It has to be Cartier.
Expensivo. We should have Googled the price, but our listeners are very savvy to this love bracelet.
Yes.
So that goes well. Lauren is overjoyed with her bracelet that she wanted from her dad, because she had originally told Vito she wanted this bracelet and then said, never mind, I want my daddy to give it to me. So I think it was a really sweet moment for them.
Yeah, and Caroline talked about how it was a lot of guilt with how much she worked, and how they were happy, sad, and I'm sorry tears all at once, basically. So it was kind of a good moment overall, and we learned more about Al. We always knew that he worked a lot in this lifestyle, but now we really kind of get how it really reflected his relationship with his kids.
Yeah, and I have to say, I didn't really realize from last week. There we go. Our producer's putting up some good information for us here on the Cartier bracelet. I didn't really realize from last week to this week that Al had all this guilt from not being around. I thought it was just like Daddy didn't want to let go of his little girl. I didn't realize it was showering her with gifts to make up for not being there.
Right.
So I like that we peeled back the curtain on that.
Yeah, I agree. I understood it more.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, I can get behind this a little bit more, even though she's a woman of a certain age. But I get where Al is coming from. That's his thing,
Yeah, showering her. Well, we do leave Italy and get back to New Jersey, back to the real world, as Al says, and head back to Jersey. So Lauren kind of interrupts everybody in the kitchen trying to work on the floor plan and for the wedding ceremony, and had a funny moment with the brothers. We're like, Lauren, not right now. I love them. I wish we got more comedy with them. But Lauren is interrupting everyone saying, Daddy, come here. I have a gift to give you. So she wants to give back the gold American Express that Al has given her. Did you think that was a great move, or did you think it was fake?
Well, it was probably a little fake, but the part that got me the most is when she said, Vito will take care of me. And to me, that's almost like saying, like, you're done, I don't need you anymore. And I know that's not how she meant it, but it's just kind of like, that's how I felt. Like, if I was Al, that's how I would internalize it. Like, because that's how he feels by giving her the card. Like, this is my way of taking care of you. But by giving that back, it's almost like when saying, my future husband is going to take care of me, then it's almost like, oh, he would feel probably a little less useful in her life.
Aww.
I hope not, but that's kind of how I feel. Like, that's how their relationship is set up. That's what we learned in the episode, That's how I feel.
I felt like Al really felt better about... okay, here we have some information. At the end of April 2015, the retail price for the yellow gold or pink gold love bracelets are $6,300. If you want to go for the diamonds, folks, you're going to go up to $15,400.
That's outrageous.
If you want to spring for white gold, $6,850. Oh my. Well,
wow.
She's a lucky lady.
Yeah.
Thank you. So I thought Caroline put it perfectly with the whole giving back the American Express card thing, that it was a really sweet gesture on her part, and then it was going to kill him.
Yeah.
So, and I think the love note to him from when she was a little girl kind of capped it all off perfectly.
Yeah, that was a nice touch. But yeah, I kind of felt bad for him because I feel like he's like losing his usefulness to her with that. I hope, that's
I think it's okay. I think it's going well. They had a lot of sweet moments together as far as like, I'm okay, Dad, you can let go.
Yeah.
And I think he actually does really respect the fact that she said, Vito's going to take really good care of me. That's why I'm marrying him. I think he does feel better now that she said that. And I think he's ready to be like the best grandfather ever mode. Like for all that time he wasn't around, he's going to be around all the time now, Yeah. And I think that it's going to be a really great next chapter for them.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah. So next week, we're going to get a peek at Chris's book cover. Albie, it looks like he's kind of trying to maybe talk about breaking up with Brittany. And Chris has no date for the wedding.
I can't be bothered with that storyline.
So Chris has no date for the wedding, so it looks like maybe the brothers are going solo to the wedding.
Yeah. I can't believe Chris can't find someone to go with. I thought at least, he'd bring, go with like Greg or somebody. Like, I just feel like, he's like goofy, as he always is. I'm just surprised he's going solo. So.
We'll see. I mean, I think it's perfect. Those two can be each other's dates.
Yeah, that would be great. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, that's all I have this week for Manzo'd. And next week, finally the wedding and season finale.
Yes. All right. Well,
Okay.
now we'll take a little transition to part 3, the visit. Teresa checks in, of course. And we're just seeing more of the nonsense going on at the house with the daughters opening up, with Joe losing his phone and this pond and Melania being out of control. We see a lot of Melania, and the producers even asked her, like, what makes you tick? What makes you so crazy? And she's just like, I just get bored. Just show out.
That was the best line. She's like, I just get bored and do stuff that's crazy. Wait, I think I wrote it down. Hold on.
Oh, yeah, I want to know the Melania speak. Let's get the real.
Oh, wait. Sometimes I get bored and I just do stuff that's crazy. That's a quote.
I like it.
I love it.
She believes it too. She's like, she believes everything she says. Like, she's the brains of that operation. She thinks.
Look, I'm sure there's a lot of things in life that are going to happen for the good for her because of her personality. I think she's a child that would benefit from discipline. And I don't think Teresa really disciplines her kids. And Joe is just, well, what are you going to do?
Yeah.
I got to fish my cell phone out of the pond. What are you going to do?
I feel like if anyone would discipline her, it would be Joe. And that's not even saying too much because that's just out of the two of them.
Yeah.
And because, Teresa, especially, we talk about guilt with parents. I mean, when she gets out and she's back with her kids, she's not going to turn on them and really be a disciplinarian because she's got a lot of time to make up for it. She feels like they probably suffer enough. So I don't know if this girl will ever get a reality check.
I don't know. We'll have to see. I don't know if maybe she will have changed her parenting style in that she wants everyone to walk a little more straight and narrow, to not be in the position she and Joe were in. We'll have to see. I don't know.
We will. Yeah, I mean, I definitely hope she's grown in that respect. If she's learned a few things. She's had a lot of time to read, books and get advice on things that perhaps she'd have originally.
Right.
So let's talk about this upstate New York trip. And Melissa's coming, and she's cooking in the kitchen. A lot of cooking on the show, even the pizzas.
Lot.
Yes. And I don't know. I just want to know, what do you think about Melissa and how she's coming across in general?
I'm so glad you asked. I thought she was super shady this episode, even more so than the past two. Here's the thing, is that I know the producers wanted to pull it out of her, so it's the line of questioning that this is coming from. But it's either she sounds like she's covering up and just putting a smiley face on everything, kind of the way Teresa does, or it sounds super shady because she's being honest, like, look, I wish she would let me come see her in prison. Look, I hope she's changed while she's in there. She's got a lot of time to think about things. And it just sounds super shady. Yeah. And not supportive.
See, I think she's damned if she does and damned if she doesn't.
She is. That's the unfortunate part.
She can't not show up to these events. She can't say, no, I'm not going to be interviewed to talk about Teresa because it would look awful. But, of course, they just keep playing it up that, she'll do this, she'll be there, she supports them, she wants to be a family again. And then they show those awful flashbacks when they were so catty to each other, which doesn't help either party. But yeah, I don't know. It's just, I don't think this season, I mean, these 3 specials have been a friend to Melissa. I don't think they've helped her at all.
Or her Joe Gorga. Either one of them. I think they didn't come across that great.
Yeah, I mean, like, even the moment when Joe came over to the house later on in the episode, I feel like I'm like, when the cameras aren't here, how often do they really engage?
Right.
Like, is this like, we're shooting, the cameras are here, so we need to, like, like the producers are like saying, like, we're going to integrate the cast that we know. We saw Eugene, his cousin. We did see Teresa, the other cousin, I believe, at the beginning.
Yes.
So we've expanded the circle just a little bit. But, like, Rosie's still coming over, so I almost feel like it's the producers trying to, like, tie the people in with who we know. And that's why it's, like, always, like, Joe and Melissa, but it's just not a good look for them because I don't believe that they're that involved. I think it's obvious.
Yes, I think that was the problem with this whole thing.
Yeah.
And I really don't think it's Melissa's fault that she's damned if she do, damned if she doesn't. It's the fact that Teresa can't stand her, and no matter what she says, it's not going to be the right thing. So
Right.
That's unfortunate.
Well, Joe talks about how he misses the old Teresa, and he just only cares about Teresa. That's all that it's about, and he wants her to come out. And then, of course, all the dialogue about we need to be a family again. And, you know, we've all heard this quite a bit. I'm actually still tired of hearing about it, and the show hasn't been on in a while.
Right.
But now, of course, more than ever, the family dynamic has really been tested. So I understand, like, Joe's looking to the future. He wants things to be straight and work out well, and I do agree with him. And again, I think a totally different Teresa could possibly walk out of that prison. Possibly.
I think that would be very smart of her. Even if she hasn't made a total 180, I think it would be very smart of her to come out sounding more well-read, speaking better. I thought she's
Speaking
never
better.
never come across better than all these phone calls she made. And who knows how many million emails went back and forth with producers or what, she was always calling in at the right time,
Yeah.
I don't know, and she's calling in right when they're in the middle of a prayer in a chapel and she wants to pray with them, So
Yeah, I get what
I
you're saying,
have
what
to
you're
say,
saying.
though, she sounds different and better in every possible way. So I hope that we see an even more better polished version of her.
Yeah. I was thinking about how Melissa made a comment last week how Gia's a lot like her mom, and she always puts on a strong face and keeping up appearances, keep everything together. And you mentioned that Teresa does come across really well on these calls, and she doesn't really call and complain. Even when she described the shakedown that she had, she doesn't. She doesn't really play the victim very much. So I'm wondering if things are maybe worse than we think, and that she's just trying to internalize that and be able to come across in a positive way and not make people nervous and not want to present herself and her experience on camera that way. I'm just curious what the real reality is, because we saw what her real reality was and how she just kept hiding everything from her circle, and she kept to appearances, and people probably wouldn't know everything if they weren't opening up a newspaper just on her actions, by her actions previously. So I wonder what's really going on in that prison, if it really is, maybe not as tough as it seems.
Well, I have to say, I saw Iyanla on Watch What Happens Live a couple nights ago, last night.
I think she was on last night with Amber Rose, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
So, yes.
Whoever that is.
That was the worst guest I've ever seen on that show. Yeah. Moving on. So Iyanla, Andy's getting her, talking to her, and she mentioned something about federal prison is way easier and lighter than, it's like prison light, basically, I guess she was trying to say. And Andy's like, oh, okay, good, because Joe was kind of saying that it's just a low-budget spa over there.
Yeah.
Which the lawyer completely disagreed with.
Quickly was like, this is not a country club. Yes, this is very serious.
So who knows? I mean, I think a lot of weird, not everyday stuff goes on in there, as far as, she's always talking about the sexual things that go on in there and the homemade dildos. I didn't need to know about that. I don't know why there was so much sexual talk all the time. There was too much for me in this
I'm trying to
series.
imagine what that is, and I'm quickly trying to not imagine what it is.
I know, what they're using. I know.
Please.
Ooh. Anyhow.
I didn't see that on Orange is the New Black. That's all I know about prison kids. That's it. That I when I was a Cub Scout, I toured a jail. like that. I mean, I know nothing about prisons, so it's like I'm learning actually a lot by this, by watching
me
this.
too.
Now, I've read a few articles about it, and there was the former crisis manager of the Giudice.
Yes. Okay. I remember they quit and freaked out when she wrote her own letter to go to Danbury. Is that
something
that one?
like that? Yeah. So Wendy Feldman is her name.
Yes, that was her.
And she says that they're showing too much on TV, and that they should just stay quiet and let suspicion grow. Like, let people be curious about this. I mean, no. I disagree too.
No, totally. This is the perfect thing. First of all, they needed the money
because they're still
bills. Right, they're still paying the restitution, which the lawyer went into tonight, which I love. Or I'm sorry, when did this air? Last night. Which I loved. I was so excited to hear about that. I was like, ooh, okay. So it's like he just said, every time they make any money, the government gets their cut, and they're in a great standing as far as paying the bill back goes. That part was great to find out. I love that. And I think this lady's completely wrong. Obviously, they need to do something to make money. So number one, they had to do this. Number two, they painted themselves in a really great light. Like, I really do feel bad for them after this, even though I felt the complete opposite for years about her and Joe.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I think this puts them in a really good light for her to come out, and everybody feels bad for her, and they're going to buy the cookbook because she needs the money. And I totally disagree with that woman.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think she's a very good gauge. I mean,
of what the public wants to.
Yeah. And like, she didn't really do too much to help them. Like, their public appearance, I mean, it looks pretty bad for them. They did the whole last season. If she's telling everybody now they're putting too much out there, they're saying too much, they shouldn't be doing this special, then why did you allow them, when you were the crisis manager, to do the last season of the Real Housewives?
Right.
Like, I don't get it. Like,
right.
Okay, now all of a sudden it's not good. So,
well, look, the option is this is all happening in real life and we all know it, and we could make up what we think is happening, or just show it.
Yeah.
And they got to spin it in a way that they're going to come out rosy on the other side, I think. And, even though they're felons now, we're still so interested in them, and we're on their side. Like, give me a break. Right. Sorry, Wendy.
I liked the moment where they were in the church, which probably was a little produced because, of course, you mentioned the phone call. But I liked that because we saw the flashback, and you want to say something, I know.
I couldn't get over how Joe was so well spoken in that moment, and it seemed really genuine for him, even though right for him well spoken.
The U's slipped in.
Yes, they did. I just think that even if the producers set up, okay, now you guys are going to go down to the chapel and Teresa's going to call on you, I'm going to say a prayer together, I think it was such a beautiful moment. He really meant what he was saying to those girls. He basically was kind of like saying a prayer to them, but really not praying. And then he wanted them to pray, and that didn't go so well. So that was a great comedic moment.
I love when Teresa was like, "You're going to church. 5:30. Yes. You go to the 5:30." That's like you can tell she's like such a mom, planning everything, like typical.
You know what I loved about what she said about what I'm learning in here is it's the difference between Catholicism and Christians that are not Catholic. It's that you don't need to say a certain prayer, and you don't need a priest to go to God for you on your behalf. It's like you just pray anytime.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So I thought that was great that she's learning and expanding and saying her prayers every night. That was really sweet.
Yeah, that was a good moment. I liked that. Of course, what else can we say that went on in this episode? Gia and Joe had a moment. And Gia was like, of course I want to go out, but I'm here, I'm taking care of these kids. Like, I was waiting for that moment. And I think, unfortunately, they're only going to have more of those coming up as Gia ages, because she really does take on a lot of, Teresa's role, perhaps. And it seems that way, at least to us. I'm not in the house, I don't know. Right. But by her talking to her father that way, having those feelings, like, that's only going to become more and more prevalent. She's just going to want to kind of like she's gonna have a moment where she's like, look, I never had an opportunity to grow up. I missed out on a lot of stuff. You know, granted, she's only 14 and things can change, but I don't know, I just feel like she's gonna hold on to this time period, and hopefully she can move forward with it, and it'll be part of her growing up. But it could also be something she could lean on and have, you know, guilt and use as a crutch, really, as like, you know, to go a little crazy. I hope not.
I think things are going to get much better for her when Teresa comes home, because mom's back. Mom takes care of everything. Mom can drive. So Gia can go be a kid again. Mom can cook. Mom can clean. Mom can do the laundry. So she won't have to do those things anymore.
Right.
And she'll be getting her license soon, or, you know, training to have her license soon. And once that happens, she can help take the girls places.
That
you know, and it'll be fun, and it'll be fun for her to, you know, be driving a car around.
Yeah.
But I think that it was a sad moment for her. I felt bad for her. I thought it was a sad moment for her because of what Joe said to her. She's pouring her heart out, saying like, "Dad, I'd rather be with my friends," and he said, "Get over it. That's the way it is now." Like, that's really not the way to talk to her in a sensitive moment.
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot to ask someone her age specifically to make these sacrifices, and that's what she talked about, you know, just having to make sacrifices too. And I don't know, I just feel like, you know, you don't want this girl to grow up and look badly at this time of her life and be like, oh, I didn't have the opportunity. But I do believe this is a short problem in her life. It's, you know, it's granted, it changed her life, but it really is only a year in which she has to endure kind of being the mother figure. So,
well, I worry about her thinking that she won't need her mom telling her what to do anymore. Be like, I did this all without you. You know, I worry about that.
I worry about that too.
And then growing up too fast. And she doesn't have Joe around as, you know, the father figure, even though it seems like Joe doesn't do too much discipline. You know, just having the man around in the house as a father figure to put a little fear into you when it comes to things you shouldn't be doing too young. She'll be missing that. So I hope for Gia that this doesn't affect her.
Yes, I feel the same. Then we came across the time where Joe was talking about how you can trust nobody because there's a picture being taken. I missed parts of this when I watched the episode just because there were things going on where I was viewing the show. Yeah. But can you fill me in?
So this was, they were driving to the prison. So this, Joe hasn't yet seen Teresa in prison. He's driving, and Gia mentions, oh, it's a good thing you wore pants. You're not even allowed to wear shorts there. There's all these rules. Like, no phones. We can't take our phones in. And he said, oh, okay. And Gia mentioned that someone snuck a picture of Teresa. They did a locker clean out, found pictures of Teresa on this woman's phone that I guess she planned on trying to sell to a tabloid. And that woman got transferred to county jail. So
not worth
the
it.
punishment was swift and awful.
Oh, that woman must be cursing Teresa.
Oh my God.
What a mistake.
What a mistake.
Wow.
So that was that whole scenario.
Right.
And then when they arrived, man, Joe was really shook afterward.
I was watching Joe when he was getting out of the driver's seat. He picked up he left something and then he came back for it. And I knew he was just like taking his time. Like, you'll end up somewhere, your body's moving, you're going to get there, but it's like every last second that you don't need to face something.
Yes, when you're just filled with dread.
Yeah, I felt that was it. Like, he knew what he had to do, he was going to do it, he had every intention of going and seeing her, but damn, if it was there a moment, it would be a moment too soon, you know? It was just like, I felt for him. I really did. Of course, he did break down and become very emotional, as we all predicted he would, and even he did himself. And, she said, I'm okay. And she said that he saw a part of the jail that he, didn't really kind of even realize. And then he got more upset, thinking that, his sister's being chained like an animal, he said. So, I can totally understand that.
He mentioned that he cried for the whole first hour that he was there. And I was like, wow, that's tough. The whole first hour. Wow. Yeah. And then the chained animal comment, my God.
I don't know. Do you feel like he should have tried to remain a little bit more strong for his sister, or is it just too much?
Yeah, like how can you hold it in, honestly? And I think it's really good for their relationship that that happened, you know? She can see how much he loves her and that this is crushing him and that he's still here. Like, I'm still here. I came. As soon as I was approved, I'm here, you know?
Yeah, I don't know. I probably would have tried to be a little bit more sensitive to her. I
remember the mother, Nona, in the car saying, like, you don't cry, you don't show her you're upset. You know, just smile and be happy and...
But, you know, Joe, he's his own guy. He's an emotional person.
Yeah.
And, you know, that's the true him, so.
He said, I'm a little bitch when it comes to my family.
Yes. So, I think that'll do it for this whole segment. Anything else?
I just wanted to make an observation.
Sure, please.
Because this hit me after I watched it. I had just printed my notes and I was like, wow, I just thought of that. So, Melissa had said, I hope that she has a lot of time to think about things in prison and I want to be a family again and da-da-da-da, and I hope she's, and basically saying, like, I hope she changes and stops being crazy and comes to her senses and we can all get along. And Joe said when he saw her, she seems like the old Teresa again. So basically the two of them are equating her being in prison for a felony that has nothing to do with a personal relationship with, oh good, this is making her work on our personal, you know, this is punishment and
hopefully they're losing sight of the real reason she's in there.
It's like, well, she's in there for mortgage fraud. You know, it's nothing to do with you guys not getting along. So I don't know, I kind of thought that was a little, it just looks bad on their part. It's not that it's not honest, and it's not that it's not what anyone else would say or feel if they were in that situation. It just doesn't look or sound good.
Yeah, I agree. Something I came away from the special with was the moment where actually Joe and the lawyer went to that restaurant. Shout out to the table flip. That was great.
Oh my God. Well, you know what? What a way to bring it full circle.
I know.
He was saying this all started here 7 years ago. And I was like, that's so true. She became like this star from that table flip.
That is a really good producer thinking.
That was awesome.
Yes, I liked that they went back there where it all started. But also the fact that Joe admitted that, he did things with mortgages. He was participated in fraud, and these are people who don't admit to anything, at least forever and ever.
Did you notice they spliced that audio?
Ooh.
They were the camera was on. I watched it a couple times, and the camera was on the lawyer, and you could hear Joe's voice, and then you hear them splice in the mortgage fraud with like the 3 words they spliced in and went back to whatever the original sentence was. So I don't know what he said in the sentence.
Joe, I'm giving you some credit.
And then the producers put in, I don't know if they spliced it in from another sentence, if they had him record it somewhere else. But I think that it was legally what needed to be said for it to be proper.
Right. I think that's it. I'm curious how much the lawyer had final say with these episodes.
I think he sat there in that edit room with them after the rough cut and had to go through it with a fine-tooth comb.
I think you're right. Yeah. Well, it was a very good special, and you know, it makes me kind of look forward to all of the wives coming back or creating a new cast, or of course keeping Teresa around. So it was a good special. It was nice to literally check in with them. And I'm really looking forward to the exit interview that she's gonna have with Andy. Apparently he says they have not paid her for it. Other people say they've already prepaid, like given her like a bunch of money as an incentive. Yeah.
Come on, they had to have.
They also have first refusal, so if she's gonna give an interview to anyone, it's gonna be them. So,
see, I'm shocked. I feel like she should do like a Good Morning America, like something bigger.
Yeah, I think so too.
Like so that people who aren't as familiar, or people who don't realize she's getting out of prison, like the hardcore Bravo people, will see this on Bravo. I think, you know, it would do well on a national platform.
And yeah, I'm sure she'll go and she'll do the interview wherever anyone's going to pay her to do it. You know?
That's true. She needs the money.
Yeah, she'll be at a big tour. Although, the thing with, I want to see her do well with making money, of course, paying down the deficit, but she needs to use her time and reconnect with her family, though.
That's true.
You know, so.
Well, I think that will be her priority. I really do. I think that nothing is worse to her than being separated from them, and that will be her highest priority.
And that last moment when she was like, "Oh, I just want you to hold me and never let go," like you can tell that this actually has probably help their marriage.
Yeah, 100%. And I think those few months that they'll have together will be really precious, and we won't see much of her.
Yeah.
Which will be a good thing.
I hope not.
It'll be a good thing that they're tucked away.
All right. Well, you can keep the conversation going with us and letting us know what you think. So much has happened in this little special, and we've learned a lot of good information. So you can keep the conversation going with us on Twitter. You tweet me at Grants__rants, and you can find me on my podcast, Grants Rants Hollywood Talk.
And you guys can follow me, Megan Stecher, on Snapchat, Instagram, and Twitter. It's all at Megan Stecher, MEGANSTECHER.
That'll do it for us for Manzo'd With Children and The Real Housewives of New Jersey. Teresa Checks In, Part 3.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.